Now is the time to shop for upgrades that transform your yard during spring backyard days at the Home Depot. Turn an empty corner into a hangout with the Hampton Bay Brook Mill 4-piece patio set. Then brighten your garden with lilacs or begonias and help them thrive with Vigoro potting soil. It's the finishing touches that really bring your space together, with low prices guaranteed. Shop spring backyard days for 7 days at the Home Depot now through May 6th. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears. And when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Ever notice how life's best stories don't happen in your living room? They happen on the open road, out on the water, or parked under the stars. At Progressive, they get that you want to focus on the experience, not worry about the what-ifs. That's why they offer quality insurance designed for your ride, whether that's a boat, RV, or motorcycle. Adventure with confidence. Visit Progressive.com and see how easy it is to protect your favorite way to get away. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in D.C. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.
Sometimes, the strangest encounters don't happen in abandoned places or deep forests. Sometimes, they happen right outside your front door, inside your home, or in the middle of a crowd. Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and Listen Story episode. I've got 4 freaky stories to share today, and I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? What the heck did I see? And this story is from Forward Pudding 4453. Thank you so much for letting us share your story. So, I kind of never thought I'd be saying this, but I saw something in the wee morning hours, around 3-ish a.m. the other morning. I really don't know if it was a crawler or what. I woke up to put in a load of laundry because I needed a certain outfit clean and ready for the day, and I was going to be riding my scooter. I realised I may need to find and wash my gloves. It was chilly here that day, and going against the wind at 50 miles per hour can get frigid. I remembered that my gloves were actually sitting right outside of my garage door, so I went out to get them. And as soon as I stepped out onto the porch, something caught my attention. Because there are no streetlights on my street, and therefore it's always super dark and kind of eerie, I always noticed any new light source that I'd not seen before. Out of my peripherals, I saw something shining from 2 yards away. I looked up to see what it was coming from, and I swear it was 2 yellow glowing eyes. As dark as it was outside, I couldn't really make out anything else, except for the fact that, in whole, it looked like some creature was sitting in the tree. A kind of small tree. It wasn't a tall one. Just looking at me, with its glowing eyes. I would have brushed it off and not thought anything of it, if it weren't for the fact that I legit saw a body, head, torso, long legs, looked like it was sitting with its legs bent and knees up, sort of, long arms, and funky looking hands and feet. I will say this. All of those features were just visible as a mass, darker than the space around it, because the only thing sort of illuminating the area was a bit of light from the moon. I'm not too bright sometimes, and for a second I just stood there staring. Then I said, what the heck are you? At one point, it looked like it kind of shifted around in the tree, but it never moved beyond that. As hard as I tried to keep walking towards the garage to get my gloves, it's as if I went paralysed anytime I actually tried to take another step. I finally just said, screw the gloves. In the back of my mind, I felt like something was warning me that as soon as I got far enough away from my front door, this thing would launch at me or something. I don't know what I saw, for sure, but I will say this. I made sure to take a good look at that same spot once it was daylight. There was nothing there that would have created an illusion of the things I saw. Seriously, not a single thing, and nothing to explain away the two shining yellow eyes. By the way, Ashleton, if you see this, please chime me in, because I'm really stumped due to whatever this was just sitting in a tree right in someone's front yard. From reading your logs, that seems like it's not crawler behaviour. I did end up trying to do some of the things that you have mentioned just in case. Before I went back inside, I visualised a vivid ring of protection. I don't remember what you called it to be exact, of fire circling around my entire home. Also, I attempted to be confident in my thoughts and communicate that I had seen it and knew that it saw me and that was okay. But that was as far as our interactions needed to go, and I told it that I forbid it from coming closer to my home. Also, that I meant it no harm or disrespect, and I expected the same in return. After that, I did go back inside without ever getting the gloves or even stepping off my porch. I mean, I can't say this thing was a crawler, but after checking the area again in the daylight, I do believe that I saw every single part that I described. There was definitely some sort of creature there, and it wasn't an animal or a person. That much I am sure of. Really not what you want to see when you're looking up in the tree. That is terrifying. Gangly legs, everything about it was awfully terrifying. Now, I'm assuming that Ashleton, who the writer is referring to, is perhaps an expert on crawlers. I'm not entirely sure. But maybe I'll have a little look and see what they are saying. Right, are you ready for the second story? Every night at 2:17 a.m, something uses my bathroom. And this is from Don't Look Behind. Thank you so much for letting us share your story. I started noticing it about a week after I moved into my new apartment. It was a small, slightly old place, but it was affordable and quiet. The landlord didn't say much, except that the previous tenant had left suddenly. At first, everything felt normal. But then one night I woke up for no reason. My throat was dry, and the room felt colder than usual. I checked my phone, It was exactly 2:17 a.m. That's when I heard a soft click, like the bathroom door unlocking, followed by the sound of the shower turning on. I froze, because I live alone. There's no one else there. Slowly, I got up and walked to the bathroom, my heart beating faster. The door was slightly open, but when I pushed it, the room was empty. The shower was off, the floor was completely dry, and everything looked normal. I convinced myself it was just old pipes making noise and went back to bed. But the next night, it happened again at exactly 2:17 a.m. This time, I didn't move. I stayed in bed and listened as the water ran and then stopped. After that, I heard something worse. Wet footsteps coming out of the bathroom, slow and heavy, stopping right outside my bedroom door. I pulled my blanket over myself, too scared to even breathe. The next morning, I checked everything again, but there were no signs of water or anyone being there. By the third night, I was already awake, waiting. At 2:17 a.m, the same sound started, but this time I also heard breathing, like someone standing under the shower. After the water stopped, the footsteps came closer again, and I heard my doorknob move slightly, like someone trying to open it. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I decided to record the bathroom using my phone. When I checked the video in the morning, my hands were shaking. At exactly 2:17 a.m, the bathroom door opened on its own, and the shower turned on without anyone there. After a minute, a faint shape appeared, almost like steam but darker, standing in front of the mirror. The camera couldn't capture it clearly, but the mirror showed something else, a tall, wet figure standing behind the camera. I felt my chest tighten and stopped the video. That night, I stayed awake again, staring at the bathroom door. At 12:17 a.m, it opened slowly, and the water started running. But this time I heard a faint whisper coming from inside, like someone crying while speaking. Without thinking, I got up and walked toward it. The bathroom was filled with steam, and the mirror was completely fogged. As I stepped closer, I saw something writing on the mirror from the inside, like an invisible finger tracing words. I couldn't move as the letters slowly formed. "You forgot me." My voice shook as I whispered, "I don't know you." The water suddenly stopped and everything went silent. Then I felt cold breath near my ear, and a whisper right behind me said, "You left me here." That's all you need, isn't it? You move into somewhere, you get settled in, and then you've got a ghost taking a shower at 2:17 a.m. It was the wet footsteps bit that got me the most. That was awful. Are you ready for the third story? Me and my mother both experienced something together, and this story is from Risky7 Rice. Thanks so much for letting us share it. Me and my mum were visiting family in South Dakota over the summer. My grandmother lives out in the middle of nowhere, near the Wyoming border, on a ranch about 25-minute drive from the nearest town. She's in her 70s and lives alone in a small house she had built in 2013. The layout of the house is very open. There's one bedroom with a loft, and the kitchen, dining room, and living room all connect into one large space that makes up most of the house. There's a back door in the laundry room that leads out to where vehicles are parked. The house has a number of large windows, and at night, it gets extremely dark. There are very few lights around, so once it's night, it feels completely isolated. My mum and I were there for a few days. One night, around 11 p.m. to midnight, my grandmother was already asleep. My mum was sitting on the couch in the middle of the house, and I was on a chair off to the side, both of us on our phones. Out of nowhere, we heard the back door slowly open. We both immediately looked at each other, then toward the back of the house. My mum sat up, and we both just stared toward the laundry room area where the sound came from. It sounded like someone had entered through the back door. Then we heard footsteps. They started in the laundry room and slowly moved forward through the house toward the front door area, passing along the same path that you'd naturally walk through the space. The footsteps sounded heavy, like they belonged to a large man. Along with the footsteps, we also heard what sounded like faint, heavy breathing. The footsteps continued until they stopped right near the couch where my mum was sitting. At that point, both of us froze. We looked at each other with the same expression, basically silently asking, "Did you hear that too?" Without saying much, we both got up and cautiously walked to the back door to check it. We closed and secured it, even though we weren't sure what had happened. After that, I had a hard time sleeping for the rest of the night. My mum was visibly shaken at first, which was unusual for her. But later she seemed to try to act normal and move past it. I've never really seen her react like that before. The next day, she went through the house and saged it. Both my mum and grandmother are very religious, but we never told my grandmother about what happened. I doubt she would remember or take it seriously even if we did. I've stayed at that house alone a couple of nights since then, and those nights were extremely uncomfortable. I stayed in the loft with headphones on, covering the entrance with a blanket just to block out the view of the downstairs area. Even then, I sometimes felt like I could hear faint voices coming from below, though I couldn't make out anything clearly. I absolutely refused to stay there alone overnight now. That night, the weather was calm, no storms, no strong wind, just complete silence, which somehow made everything feel even more unsettling. There have also been a few other family members who have mentioned experiencing strange or unexplainable things at my grandmother's place, though nothing as direct as what my mum and I experienced together. I still don't have a clear explanation for what we heard that night, but the fact that we both experienced it at the exact same time is what has stuck with me the most. I stayed with family in Thuan Nam, Vietnam for about a month in 2024. During that time, I lived relatively close to a river that locals had told me was considered haunted. My girlfriend at the time lived across the river, and every time we drove across the bridge, she would get visibly anxious and start freaking out. I also spoke with a woman who lived right along the river. She was able to speak some English, and she mentioned that she sees strange, unexplainable things fairly often, and has come to consider it normal. She also told me that the river has been used as a dumping ground for bodies during the Vietnam War. During my time there, I would sometimes feel an unexplainable sense of unease whenever I was near the river or crossing over it. It wasn't something I could fully describe, just a heavy, unsettling feeling that seemed to come out of nowhere. Experiences like that, combined with what happened at my grandmother's house, have only strengthened my personal belief that there is something beyond what we can easily explain. I tend to believe the world has both good and bad, and that there may be both good and bad spirits as well. There's a lot going on in this story. Now, when your mum hears something the same as you, that in itself is terrifying if you know that you shouldn't be hearing it. because your mum sort of backing that up for you is just no. And I'm going to have to look into this river in Vietnam, because what is going on there? Are you ready for the fourth and final story? Was my single rider friend real? And this is from Val TNP. Thanks so much for letting us share your story. Hello everyone. I, a 33-year-old female, and my husband, 37-year-old male, went to Epic Universe back in November 2025 for our wedding anniversary. The new park has insane attention to detail and so many amazing rides. One of those rides being Monsters Unchained, Dracula's Revenge. I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. This ride has such small lines. Like at one point, we went on it 3 or so times in a row, and it only took 5 minutes each. So since there were such small lines, each group of friends could go together easily. My husband, by the way, had a knee scooter because he had an ankle injury and got surgery after it. His injury happened back in July, but he was still using his knee scooter because he could rest every now and then. Anyway, back to the story. So as we're walking down the hallways to get to the centre part of where we go into the car floating vehicle stroke box, out of nowhere, this nice perky mid-20s girl showed up behind us by herself. My husband is more of an introvert, so I made some light conversation. I asked her if it was her first time in the ride, and she said, "Oh no, I don't know which time this is, it's just my favourite." I agreed it was fun. I think the ride is in my top 5. We sit on the ride, all 3 of us. I think the ride seats 4. And I got excited and asked her, "Are you ready?" in a fun tone. She was sitting right next to me with my husband on the other side, but she didn't reply. I figured she didn't hear me. We did the ride and then got back to the centre of it again to get off the ride. I saw her come out of the vehicle and I said, "It was nice to meet you." And she said, "Yeah, you were friendly." My husband then needed some help getting his scooter, so I turned back to wish her a good rest of her trip, but she was gone. Not down the hallway, just gone. This was a very long hallway. Even if she sprinted, I would have seen her because my head turning between her to my husband back to her was a couple of seconds each. I asked my husband where did she go, and he just said that she had probably already left and gave me one of our backpacks to help him get back on the scooter. We went all the way out and I didn't see her again. I've been in denial, but was she actually there? My husband doesn't even remember what she looks like. The ride is dark, but you can see people to a safe extent. I just remember her looking like she was in her mid-20s, with slightly curly hair and about my height. I'm 5'5". I don't know. I hate to ask, but I'm sharing because I would like to know. Has anyone possibly met this single rider girl before? Yes. I know that the park opened back in May of 2025. Thank you for reading.
On any journey using Uber, it helps to know you're getting into the right car. PIN verification adds an extra step to make sure your ride is your ride. Before the trip begins, your app gives you a unique PIN. Just tell it to your driver, and they'll enter it in their app before the ride can start.
Hey, what's your PIN?
2538.
That way, you know you're in the right car taking the right trip, and your driver knows you're the right passenger. Make sure your ride is your ride with PIN verification from Uber. One more way Uber is putting safety at every turn. Learn more on the Uber app.
Allergy season doesn't wait until you're home. It shows up in the car, at work, even at the gym. That's why Kleenex Ultra Soft Tissues have you covered. They're allergist approved and silky soft to help prevent skin irritation. And now, new Kleenex Snap and Go lets you take your favorite skin-loving tissues anywhere. A durable, compact case with a snap-shut lid, Kleenex Snap and Go keeps tissues clean and protected. So wherever allergies strike, comfort is within reach. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex Snap and Go.
definitely a ghost. Don't know what happened because obviously it's a new fairground place. But something is in the soil, and that was a ghost for sure. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you again on Sunday. Take care, everyone.
It's time to refresh your yard during spring backyard days at the Home Depot. Get low prices guaranteed on propane grills starting at $179, like the Next Grill 3-burner gas grill. Or get $50 off a select Weber Spirit grill and bring big flavor to your backyard. Then set the scene with Hampton Bay string lights that bring it all together. Shop spring backyard days for 7 days at the Home Depot, now through May 6th. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.